And you may recognize him from one of our recent quarantine takeover shows. We handed an hour of studio time over to him, and he covered us with his influences, his new stuff, his old stuff, and just had a good time. It was a fun show. So you can also check that out on our website because we keep those things archived. So welcome, Tim. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. It's been a blast.
Latest victim of the orange couch.
Love the orange couch. Spent a lot of time in this couch, in this room, for sure.
It's a very orange room.
Funny story, I actually helped Tony build this studio.
Did you?
Yeah.
That's cool.
20 years ago. I've known Tony for a long time, and so when he decided to do the studio, I helped him put drywall up and paint and all that stuff. So yeah, it was a good time.
That's very cool. Yeah, he said you guys have been working together for a long time.
Yeah. I actually knew Tony before he was even a sound engineer. He was just a quasi keyboard player. He was just kind of starting out, just a young kid. And so I had to show him the ropes and to teach him. I taught him everything he knows.
That works. So, and I'm assuming that he recorded you for the new EP, right?
Yes. Tony and I, we started, some of these songs were a year or two old, and I had them in a hopper. You just write songs and you record them, and they're just kind of around. And then, I told Tony, I'd like to put, 5 or 6 together in a new EP. So came in the studio, we started to kind of pull some of this stuff back out, and Tony we actually write together as well. I've known him long enough to where we come in together. I kind of bring him this fledgling song idea that I wrote on Acoustic a year prior, and so we sit in this room and kind of like just put all these ideas out on the table. And he's a really good piano player, or keyboard player, and I'm more of the singer songwriter side. So the two of us together really kind of make some good music. So yeah, him and I really worked hard on the EP, and he played any of the keyboard tracks you hear on there. He definitely played those. So yeah, it was a great time.
That's cool. It's great. It's nice to have a producer level recording person as well in there. So someone who can actually understand what you're trying to get at and work with you on it.
Yeah, for sure. And he has a great vision, not to get too much about Tony, but he's got a really good vision about.
Well, part of why we're here is Tony, so.
That's true, yeah. I don't want to get his head too big, but he definitely has a way of seeing the future. So like, you had this idea for a song, and he knows, okay, well, we need to do this now to prepare for this song to be great later. I can't always see that. He has that kind of engineer producer vision, and he's a great musician, and he's a friend too. So it all kind of works with all together for sure.
Well, so I mean, ultimately, that's obviously why you ended up getting connected to the sampler that he does every year.
Yeah, I actually was on the sampler last year for the first time. As long as I've known Tony, it was
really?
Like my first year on the sampler.
And you had to have a talk with him about that, I hope.
I just slapped him on the wrist and say, "Hey, man, what the heck's going on?" No, it was fine. It's just a great experience. I was just lucky to be a part of it for sure. And he called me and asked me if I wanted to put one of my new songs on the sampler, and I said, "Absolutely, I'd love that." So yeah.
Cool. Yeah, and so it's one of the things that we've been talking about with a lot of these artists is this things like this. The Charm City Sampler are really great examples of the Baltimore music scene and how it is incredibly supportive and intertwined, and how artists can really not only support each other, feed off each other, but if they need a part played, there's always someone around that can jump in and support.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just talking about the other day, oddly enough, that Baltimore is a fairly large city, but the music scene is very tight. And, everybody kind of knows everybody. Even if you don't know the person, if you never met them, you know them via the scene, and you see them on Instagram or on Facebook, and everyone kind of knows the bands. And then you're right, there's plenty of artists that jump in to help out, and it's really close-knit, and everyone takes care of each other, and they promote each other, which is not like you'd see in LA or New York or some of the bigger musical cities. It's such a close-knit music scene that even if it's not in the same genre as my music, which is a little more alternative, I promote guys in hip hop because I know them, because we're hanging out at a networking event, and it's just because we all know that we got to take, Baltimore's kind of like a in between city, so to speak. That's the way the country kind of looks at Baltimore, in between Philly and DC, and so we kind of get glazed over. A lot of big national acts will go to DC or Philly before they'll come to Baltimore. And so we know we have to take care of each other, so we do that. We promote each other, we push each other, and support each other. And so I love I'm from here originally, and I just have a it's just a blast to be a part of this scene, and it's really grown a lot in the last few years. There's a lot of great artists out there, so I'm excited to be a part of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing to me that you see so many different genres are supported and have depth here, and that you see these local scene shows that are not all metal, all folk, all blues, all rock, all whatever. It's these amazing blends of different styles of bands that all share the stage, and they show up in the audience for each other too.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I agree with that 100%. A lot of the shows that I've played recently, we definitely try to couple some of the same types of genre into a show. I mean, obviously, you don't want to go, have a hip hop artist and then a metal artist and then an acoustic duo. It just doesn't. Those fans don't really cross too well. But if you have an indie artist and then an alternative and then maybe a hard rock, all those fans can kind of like get down with the other bands. You say, oh, okay, I'll stick around. These guys are pretty good. So yeah, it's a very eclectic scene, but very supportive internally for sure.
Yeah. So the track that you have on the CD is from your most recent EP. What are you going to be doing for the release event?
I'm actually going to be playing at Black Eyed Susie's late in the afternoon. I think 4:30 to 5 with another artist up there, and I'm going to play all the tracks on. I'll play live probably all the songs on the new EP for sure.
Cool.
And I'll definitely be playing that one. And it's going to be acoustic too, which is a treat
Right.
because everything on that EP is full band, electric.
Right.
And so when I play in Black Eyed Susie's in Bel Air, I'm going to play everything solo acoustic. So that'll be kind of a neat twist that everyone gets a chance to see.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting because your stuff is, I would say, leans a little heavier than acoustic.
Right. Yeah, but oddly enough, a lot of the stuff that I write on acoustic. That's where the ideas kind of like start to germinate if I'm sitting around and these not the full on hard the electric guitar riffs don't come that way, but the idea of the song, like the premise of where I want to take it, kind of comes. The melodies start to kind of get formed in that area, and then when I come to the studio is really when it starts to blossom and grow. But yeah, so a lot of the songs I wrote on acoustic anyway. Not the song that's on the sampler Fullness, but Blue Diamond Peaks and Walking Away were all written on acoustic at home, sitting on my couch drinking coffee or whatever.
Well, yeah. So I guess in your case, the pandemic effect is a little different. I know with a lot of the bands, they've been separated, so it's been hard to do things. Are you finding it easier or harder to kind of get inspired and write and stay connected to the music while you've been kind of stuck?
It wasn't that difficult for me, to be honest. I know a lot of people had different degrees of struggle in the pandemic. I'm an introvert by nature, so I was okay with staying at home. And
You're like, great, everybody can leave me alone, finally.
no, but it was fine, and I started to find other outlets. I wrote some during that time. I did finish the EP at the end of the lockdown because all the songs were recorded, but there were still some things I needed to tweak. So another guitar track here, I needed to fix this vocal line. You still have some like buttoning up to do to finish it. I was going to release the EP back in February or March. That was like the kind of the target. But then the lockdowns came, and so once Tony kind of reopened the studio just for like one-on-ones, I booked some time, and that's when I released it in late July. I was that close. I had just a couple things to button up, but I started to play live on Thursday nights, just playing covers, which it's not really my forte, I guess. I'm more of an original songwriter, but I thought, everyone's stuck at home. Nobody's allowed to go out, or at least to go see shows and everything. And, I had enough gear at my house that I could just play acoustic and play some covers and get to really know the fans, get to know people a little bit better through the screen, like this. And so every Thursday night at 8 o'clock, I'd go live on Instagram and Facebook at the same time and, play 4 to 5 songs from artists that I like and take requests and do that. And then I would play some of my originals here and there too. So overall, it was fine. I mean, obviously, I missed the things that we took for granted, like everybody else, going to the movies and things like that. But, me and my kids were just hunkered down and just made the best of what we could make of it. And I did some writing and then I finished the EP. So it was good.
So are you tracking all the instruments yourselves on the album, or how do you work when you're doing those songs?
Yeah, I do write. So I do record some, through Logic at home on my. I have a Mac and some gear there. I'm not that great of an engineer. I know how to like do the basics and how to put down a drum loop and write to that, and then do like the basics of what the song's going to be, and then I come to the studio and really get all the really good takes in the studio. But I do kind of write that way. Sometimes I actually write with the voice memo on my phone. Like I'll put the voice memo and I'll hit record and I'll just play whatever. Sometimes it comes to you really fast, and you don't really have time to set up your laptop and your speakers and get your amps out and all that stuff. So it comes, and I just want to get that melody out because it's kind of starting to swirl a little bit. For me, I don't know, other artists have different experiences, but for me, writing is really kind of like this river. Sometimes it's really quiet and still, and other times it starts to rage, and I can feel this bubbling up, and I know, okay, I got to get a notepad and a guitar and try to get out whatever's coming, because I feel like there's something inside of me that needs to come out, so I write it out. So at home, yeah, I do that. Sometimes I get in these sessions where I just start to lay down just a basic beat and try to write some melodies to it, and then record it, and then eventually I'll come back around and dig it out of the box.
Everybody's got their own process, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's got to be trickier when you're solo and you've got that process. And how do you pass some of that stuff off, or do you just sit on it and now until you can get into a studio?
Oh, I'm really blessed to have a lot of great musicians in my life. Tony being one of them. But I have a handful of drummers. My brother's a great bass player. I have another bass player from a band called Rosabella, and another drummer from that same band. And it's just friends that I've made over the years. And when I get to the point where I'm going to go record, I usually call them and say, "Hey, I'd love for you to play on this track." Kind of like guns for hire. They say you can hire these musicians to come play, and so I usually play all the guitars. That's really my main instrument besides my voice, and so I'll play the guitars and vocals, do scratch tracks. For that, I'll send it to them and say, "Hey, look, this is kind of the feeling that I want. I don't want it to be too heavy, or I want it to be a little more poppy, or I want the snare to land on this beat." And so then they come in to the studio the night that I book it with Tony, and we kind of like, it's almost like a round table. We listen to the scratch tracks with the click, and then they'll go in and sit down behind the drums and they'll do a take, and I'm like, "Oh, I don't know if I like this, like that." And then they just tweak it because we're friends, and they don't mind. They're doing me a favor, and so yeah, I don't really get too much hard recording done at home because of just I focus more on the song itself as what the feeling I'm trying to translate, and the thoughts behind it, and the main vision of it, and then I trust the guys and gals that I work with and say, "Guys, look, you're better at that instrument than I could ever be. I'd rather give you the reins of that." And same goes for like graphic design on the album covers and things like that. That's a visual gift that someone else has that I don't have. Now, I do have some kind of a vision for what I want, and I'll do like a sketch out of what I think it should look like. But I leave that up to them. I don't try to. I'm not that much of a control freak, I guess, is probably the best way to describe it. I don't like try to choke it out. You have a gift. I'll let you do that. If I like it, great. If not, we can tweak it. Same goes for the songs. I let these guys play their instruments because they're just great, and I'll just make my suggestions as we go.
So, are you feeling like the stuff you've been fiddling with since the EP? Are you thinking you got another one coming out soon, or where's the writing feel at this point for you?
Man, you're digging in.
Well, I'm just, the EP was great, but, you're confessing that it was basically done in February, so.
Right. No, yeah, I do have a couple songs that I think have some potential. I actually think I may try to release a single, just kind of a standalone single in the next month or two if I can,
Cool.
if I can pull it together. And then I got some ideas for, I'd like to do a live acoustic EP, like the songs that I already have, but do like acoustic versions of them and do it like a live setting. I haven't really put a lot of feet to that yet, but that's some ideas that are on the, you have a board full of
Right.
brain dump stuff, and you write it all out. And but yeah, I think another EP probably next year, and maybe a single or two in between that, if I can sit down long enough and record.
Sounds like you should have a board recording going while you're doing your show on Saturday.
Yeah, for sure.
Gives you your live acoustic sample to start rolling around in your head.
Right. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Cool. Well, and I look forward to, hopefully we'll get you back on the air to do another quarantine takeover at some point, and look forward to the new music coming out, and seeing what's going to happen with this live stuff on the 26th. It looks like it's going to be a really exciting day for everybody.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast. And then I actually have on October 10th is a full band show.
Oh,
First
cool.
one since January. I haven't played like a full band electric show. It's down at Power Plant Live.
Nice.
So with Transcendent Events, which is also doing stuff for the sampler and stuff too. So that'll be fun. It'll socially distance and all that, but
Yeah, I think. Are you doing that with somebody else? Is it? Is it a?
Brothers Claire.
Yeah. Okay. That's. I was talking to them earlier, and I think they mentioned they were going to be doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it sounds like that's going to be cool. They're like gridding it out and putting the tables and chairs everywhere to
Yeah, I mean, there's a
make
lot
it
of
all safe,
thought
but at
put
least.
behind it for
Oh,
sure.
sure,
Yeah,
sure.
we were all kind of communicating about how we feel about it, and what do you think we should do, and then so the power plant, of course, was heavily involved because
Sure.
it's their place. But yeah,
No, that'd be exciting to get out in front of an audience, and you know.
yeah. I've been playing to my phone screen for 6 months or whatever, 7
Yeah,
months.
right, right. Yes,
So
it may be streaming to the potential of billions of people, but it doesn't have the feedback that six people in the room with you has.
that's true. Absolutely right. There's that
Yeah,
energy you miss out on.
yeah,
That literally the physical human energy that people put out. It's there's nothing like it for sure.
yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to